I want to encourage each and every one of you. I've said that this program is designed to help you. Sometimes the help comes in ways of encouragement. Most of the time, people need to be encouraged. You need to be encouraged this morning.
Okay, so today what I would like to encourage us today is with a topic called grave robbers. And I want to encourage each and every one of you guys to become a grave robber. How many desire to be a grave robber? You're excited, right? To be a grave robber? Some of you guys, I know you want to be like a senator, or some of you guys want to be a doctor, a lawyer. No. In the kingdom, you got to be a grave robber. So forget about all those lofty positions and become a grave robber. No, just kidding. But we're going to be talking about grave robbers. And I want to read something to you guys before we begin. You guys ready? You guys with me? Okay. Ready? You sure? Here we go. The graveyard is the richest place on earth because it is there that you will find all the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled, the books that never were written, the songs that were never sung, the inventions that were never shared, the cures that were never discovered, all because someone was too afraid to take the first step or keep with the problem or determined to carry out their dream. That was a quote by Les Brown, who's a motivational speaker. The graveyard is what? The richest place on the planet that we call Earth. Now, do you get a quick picture, a quick glimpse why we must become grave robbers? We cannot be one of those people who enrich the grave. We want to rob the grave from everything that God has given us. We do not want to take anything with us. Okay, so some of you guys probably know this. I think all of us are old enough to remember this game. Well, some of you guys. The game Perfection. Do you remember the game Perfection? Nobody? Only one guy? Well, we're in the same age bracket. Everybody else is younger or older. Okay. So the game Perfection is a game that has, excuse me, 25 pieces, right? And it had different shapes on it. And so you would take these 25 pieces, you would put it to the side, and then there was a board that you would push down, and then you would set the timer, and it was a minute, 60 seconds. Then you would hit the button on go, and you would begin to take one by one the shapes and try to fit it into the corresponding hole. Sound familiar? Now you had to do this before what? Before the timer ran out, and that whole thing would just bah, and it would blow up in your face, and all the pieces would go everywhere, and plus it would scare you. So it was a great game. It was a game that got you desperate to get all the pieces in there. And if you didn't get it the first time, what'd you do? Most of us would try again. And we would continue doing it. So we in life, we kind of have the same idea, if we want to put it that way, that life is like perfection, that game Perfection. Life is very much like the game Perfection. It seems like we spend our life desperately trying to get the correct pieces in the correct holes, only for the timer to run out and it blows up in our faces. Has that ever happened to you guys? Has it ever happened that you want to really do something and you really wanted to be right? Especially, I remember when I was a teenager, this was all the time. I remember my whole teenage existence, it felt like a game of perfection that blew up in my face every single time, after time, after time, after time. You know, when is this gonna change, man? Can I have more time? Can I make more time? No, you can't have more time. The time is 60 seconds. And you have to continue to play the game. And that's how I felt many times in my teenage years and also a lot of my years in adulthood. We try to get the pieces in the right hole, and these holes and these pieces, they're kind of like the questions that we ask in our lives, kind of like, who am I? Where am I going? Why am I here? Who am I going to marry? What job? What career? We're trying to fit all these different pieces, right, in the hole. Most of the time, we're not making it. Most of the time, that board springs up and all the pieces just fall back out and leave us once again trying again. So, what do? Well, we reset the game and keep trying. That's why we're here. Some of us are still playing perfection. How many of you guys are still playing perfection? Still trying to get the pieces in the right place before the time expires? Anyone? Does it feel like life is a game of perfection? The harder you try, the quicker the board just blows up in your face. And you try something new and you try something different. Seems like it just doesn't want to work. Many of us in life, we're pursuing this perfection. Well, what's the perfection in the game? If you were able to fit all the pieces in the correct holes before the 60 minutes, you were perfect. That's why it was called perfection. And some of us are in this pursuit of perfection. We want the perfect body. We want the perfect hair, the perfect face. We want the perfect shoes, the perfect clothes, the perfect boyfriend, girlfriend. We want the perfect education. We want the perfect job, the perfect husband, the perfect marriage, the perfect kids, the perfect house, the perfect car, the perfect dog, cat, parakeet. We want the perfect everything. We want to make it before our expiration time goes away. We want to be perfect. And many of us walk around pursuing this perfection, trying to put all the pieces before this thing just blows up. We want to make it. But for most of us, the reality is, for most of us, the timer always runs out and the board, bow, blows up in our faces. For most of us, that is the truth. And we're left picking up the pieces once again. And this is where frustration comes in. This is where in our lives sometimes we become disappointed, discouraged. Sometimes we become sad. Sometimes we feel hopeless. And sometimes we even have to battle things like depression or confusion because, hey, God, why? If you told me in your word that you love me, if you told me you're going to help me, that all things work together for my good, why is all this stuff continuing? God, you're really not with me. You're against me. I don't need friends like you, dude. I think I could screw up my life on my own. You're against me, God, and everybody else. And you feel like the whole world's against you. You feel like your dad, your mom, everyone's against you, even the roaches. Everyone is against you. But life goes on, and we trek on, and we pick up, and we trek on, and we drudge on, and we walk on, and we continue to fight. We continue trying to put the pieces where they belong. For some of us, we feel like it's game over. But the question is it game over? For some of us, we become so disappointed, so discouraged because of the constant blowing up, picking up the pieces. We try to we want to have a relationship. We want to form a relationship. It blows up in our face. We want a new career. We want to start a business. Guess what? It blows up in our face. We want to buy a house. Guess what? It blows up in our face. We want to get a car. Guess what? It blows up in our face. We want to pursue education. It blows up in our face. We want to get a better relationship with our children or with our parents. Everything seems to continually blow up in our face. And for some of us, it feels like it's just game over. And when it's game over, I don't know about you guys, but when I get frustrated with a game, that bad boy is going in the closet and it ain't coming out no more. I'm done with it. Game over. I don't want to see it anymore. And usually I don't see it until my wife brings it back out some holiday and I ain't playing it. It's going to take a lot for me to play that game again. But this is what most of us do when the continual board continues to blow up. We just put it away. We say game is over. I'm done. No, you can play again. No, you play by yourself. Game time is over for me. And this is where, for us as people, average now becomes acceptable. Mediocrity becomes comfortable. Being complacent isn't really that bad. It's not that bad. We become content with and we accept defeat. Can you imagine? We're just, I don't know if you guys ever been there or if it's just me. Am I talking just about myself or does anyone know what I'm talking about? We've already kind of like struggled so hard that we just say, you know what? I'm just going to get comfortable right here. For right now, I'm okay with average. I'm okay with mediocre. I'm not going to push as hard. I'm not going to dream as big. I'm going to pull it back. We become okay with defeat. We normalize apathy. And then we cease to dream. No more dreams. No more passion. There's no more drive. We had it once before, but we've ceased to dream. We no longer feed our dreams. We starve them because that's what you deserve. Because every time I go for my dreams, it blows up in my face. So guess what? I'm not going to treat you good anymore. I'm going to starve you. And we no longer feed our dreams. We no longer pursue them. We no longer do anything for them to be manifested and become a reality in our lives. So if for you it has been game over for a while, then any video game player, and I think everyone here has played some type of a game, may I suggest that it's time for a new game? I think it's time that we bring the game from out of the closet once again and play once again. I think it's time that we play reset, that we drop another quarter in the slot. I think it's time that we press continue, that we press restart, that we play this game over. And I know life is far from a game, but I hope that we are seeing it in a way that we can restart it. We can restart it. So we are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. None of us are ever too old to set a new goal or to dream a new dream. So if you've already hit game over, it's time to get it back out. It's time to press restart. Now I'm going to give you guys a couple of scriptures so I'm not accused of being just a new spiritualist motivational speaker. No, I love Jesus. I'm sold out for Jesus Christ. I love him. I love his word. Joel chapter 2, verse 25. I will restore to you. Listen, we're talking about what has happened in the past, the pieces that continue to be blown, and the time that has been stolen and wasted. Joel 2:25. I will restore. Say restore. To you. Say to me. The years that the swarming locust has eaten. The crawling locust, the consuming locust, and the chewing locust. I like God. Don't you like God? Look, he says, look, whatever situation, if the locust came and he ate, I'm going to restore it. If he was a crawling locust, I'm going to restore it. If he was a locust that consumed, if he was a locust that chewed, he came from the top, the bottom, the sideways, wherever he came and whatever he took, guess what? I will restore the years that the locust stole from you. It's time to get the board game out. Life is not over. Dreams is not over. God is telling us that we need to get back on the boat, the bicycle, the horse, whatever you understand, the roller skates, the skateboard. It's time to get back on. I'm going to give you one more scripture because one scripture is not enough. They still can call me a motivational new spiritualist, motivational encourager, speaker. Ephesians chapter 5, verses 8, 15, and 16. You guys ready? Are you ready? I don't know if you guys are ready. You ready? Yes. Here we go. For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. Be very careful how you live, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Redeeming. I want you to think about that word redeeming. Redeeming is the same word that Jesus Christ redeemed you and I. What is the word redeem? The word redeem expresses or describes or is the concept or idea of when someone would come to the slave market and purchase a slave, not to use them as a slave, but to set them free. And so God is telling us, redeem your time, which means that some of us, our time is what? Enslaved because of we miss the pieces, it blows up in our face. So we put it away. And so our time is being wasted, is being spent, is not being invested. And God is saying it's time to do what? Redeem the time. Redeem. Why redeem the time? Because the days are evil. The days are getting harder. The days are getting shorter. And look, let's just put it basic and practical. We're not getting any younger. Get back your time. Start using your time effectively because we are not getting any younger. We're not. So redeeming is, again, to buy a slave out of slavery and set it free. Are you ready to set the time free in your life? The time that is being spent, being wasted. Too much TV, too much Netflix, too much Facebook, too much. Help me out, y'all. What do you guys do? Confession time. Whatever it is, Facebook scrolling, whatever it is that has our time locked up and enslaved behind bars, it's time for us to set our time free. Time is something we don't get back, ladies and gentlemen. Time will not come again. And so God will restore. Restore means that he's going to give us a second chance. And it's up to us what we're going to do with the rest of the time that we have on earth. For some of us, our time has been a slave to laziness. Some of us have fallen victims of sadness, complacency, depression, idleness, apathy. You name it, you fill in the blank because you know your life. If this is you, if it's not you, then great. But it's time for us to set our time free so that we can begin to invest our time in the purposes of God for our life. It's time for us to live full and to die empty. We began speaking about what is the wealthiest, richest place on planet Earth? The grave, the cemetery, and we want to become grave robbers. We want to rob the grave from taking what God deposited in us, what he placed in us to bring to this world. Did you know that what you have, who you are, is necessary and needed in this world? You are not just someone that is here just because you're another person. What you have and what God has given you, who you are, is necessary to God's purpose. And until we begin to understand this, we're going to think that we're just here just to be here out of a happenstance or an accident. But no, there is a purpose for us to be here. Anyone knows, or have you ever heard about the 86,400 seconds bank account? It's interesting. 86,400 seconds bank account. Let me explain. Listen carefully. Imagine that there's a bank account, okay, that credits your account. I would love this. Each morning with $86,400. How'd you like that one? Every morning. Every morning on the dot. No, not a fail. You like that one, D? and it carries over no balance, though. It carries over no balance from day to day. So every evening, the bank deletes whatever you did not use as an investment. So if you went and you bought like stuff that doesn't matter, that doesn't count. That's a waste. That's expenditure. But whatever you invest, that counts. Everything else, when that day is over, is deleted. It's gone. It's withdrawn from your account. What would you do if that was the case? If every morning you woke up and there was $86,400 in your bank account, and you knew that if you didn't use it or invest it, I should say, before the nightfall, you would lose it. What would you do with the money? Would you? You mean you wouldn't just sit around and let it sit there? Would you have some urgency? Would you feel some motivation? Or would you say, estoy cansado, I'm tired today, I don't know what I'm going to do? Who would have urgency? Would you feel like excitement? Of course we would. We would use it all. I don't think anyone would let that 86.4 go to waste. We would invest it every single day. Well, each one of us, we have such a bank, and it's called time. We all have this bank, and it is called time. So every morning, God gifts us with 86,400 seconds. Every day, God places in our time bank 86,400 seconds for us. And the same principles hold true. What we invest is good. Sadly and tragically, if we don't take advantage of our time for that day, what happens to it? We'll lose it completely. We lose it. And we don't get it. We don't get it back. It doesn't roll over. Thank you. It does not roll over. But the very next day, what happens to your time bank account? It gets replenished. Another 86,400 seconds. And let's see what you're going to do with this one. Time is invaluable. Invaluable means that it's priceless. It's rare. It's very important. It's a high asset. But most don't value time until it becomes invaluable. Most of us will not value time until it becomes invaluable. What do I mean invaluable? I mean when that time begins to be really, really, really precious to you. If you've ever gone through an experience where you're about to die, time becomes invaluable. And all of a sudden, every second becomes priceless. To understand the value of 1 year, maybe we can ask a student who failed a grade and got left back. To understand the value of a month, maybe we can ask the mother who had a premature child and the child is sick. To understand the value of a week, maybe you need to ask the apostle how he's done it for so many years, preparing week after week for Sunday. To understand the value of 1 hour, ask a couple who's waiting to get married at 10 and it's only 9. To understand the value of a minute, ask the person who just missed the bus or the train and has to wait for the next one. To understand the value of a second, ask someone who just avoided a very, very tragic accident by 1 second. To understand the value of 1 millisecond, ask a person who's breathing their last breath on their deathbed before they go. Does that bring time into perspective? Does that bring a second into perspective? Does that bring more than 86,400 seconds a day bank into perspective? I hope so. In conclusion, I want to read once more a quote that I read before to end. And I hope that we grasp the message of how important our time is, that time is fleeting, that time goes fast. And before you know it, we're going to be 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And we need to redeem the time. Redeeming the time is an intentional act to say, I'm going to begin to schedule my time, to plan my time, to prepare my time. If you don't schedule your time, you're going to waste it. You're going to squander it. And so listen one more time. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. It's up to us to live full and to die empty. God gives us this bank every morning. And then he steps back and he says, go. Go. Come on. I put within you purpose. I put within you my plan. I put within you life. I put within you everything that you need. Go. Go. And my prayer today is that we may once and for all understand the value of time. Because the days are short, the days are evil. We're not getting any younger. We keep getting older and older. And we need to invest our time wisely. What have you not done yet in 2019 that you wanted to do in 2018, but you never done in 2017 or 2016, 2015, 2014, 2013, 12, 11, 10, 9? It's 2019 and you still haven't done it. See, the encouragement is you can still play again. You can start again. It is never too late. So the key, and I'll close, is this. If you want to learn to value time and you want to learn how to make your time as efficient as possible and invest it in the purposes of God and not waste it and not squander it anymore, you need to get yourself a $1.99 calendar, a 25-cent pen, and begin to schedule and plan your life. God said, write down the vision. Though it tarries, just wait. It's going to come. But we have to do what? Write it down. Every day. Every day, write it down. What am I going to do? What do I need to do? How am I going to progress? How am I going to advance? How am I going to grow? How am I going to mature? What are the steps I need to take? Every day, challenge yourself. Do not allow yourself to be comfortable in complacency, average mediocrity, or anything like that. Challenge yourself. And when we do that, God will honor what we do. And He will begin to help us and give us greater strength to accomplish the things that we need to do. Because after all, He's been waiting for us 86,400 times, who knows how many days, for us to begin